No amount of healing vibes is going to stop cancer. What's going to stop cancer is if all of us collectively stop the cultural death machine that is producing carcinogens on a mass scale.
For those of you who don't know, amongst other things, GenderthInc is an anarchist book publisher. And they're kind of cool and uncool in various different groups, and I tend to think that they get a disproportionate amount of criticism for the very little amount of like truly objectionable things they do, and not enough praise for the good things that they do. So yeah, go and check out their website, there's lots of cool stuff there. I'll do another video on that later, but at the moment I'm going to join the critics and level a criticism, the one that I think is a bit more significant than the ones that they usually get. Perhaps the best illustration of the problem that I have with GenderthInc is found in the first issue of Rolling Thunder, which is their journal, which you can download from their website. And in this issue, a guy called Neil wrote into the magazine. Neil was fucking pissed off, and he was pissed off about this poster which GenderthInc was distributing. Now, personally, I think that the biggest problem with this poster is that the metaphor is kind of inaccurate, like it doesn't quite work for me. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. But apart from it being a little bit like, I don't know if that metaphor works, I don't really have a problem with the poster. I think it's pretty good. Neil did not. Neil basically argued that this poster was a massive affront to transgender people who found plastic surgery to be a liberating experience. I'm not going to read his whole letter because you can find it and read it yourself if you really want to, but some of the key sections included: do you all understand that hormones and surgery can be a liberating experience for many people? And get this, for all my fellow anti-capitalists out there, it is sometimes a decision made within the context of an oppressive workplace where someone has to pass in order to keep their job, feed their family, or even avoid rape, assault, or murder. Well, yes, I am aware. Where on the poster does it say that's not the case? Because to me, the poster isn't saying people who get plastic surgery are bad. It's saying that just because an oppressive system gets you to cut yourself instead of doing it for you, doesn't mean that that system is no longer oppressive. Neil also says, we need love, support, friends, allies, people who understand what it's like to be forced into a gender box who don't belong. This is a perfect illustration of what fucking pisses me off about the transgender movement. Nobody belongs in a fucking gender box, okay? That's what the last 40 years of radical feminism was about. But are people who get plastic surgery to fit into these different roles bad people? Of course not. Just like black people who sit in bathtubs of bleach aren't bad people. But is the system that compels these people to do this bad? Yes, of course. Am I wrong for pointing it out? Am I disrespectful to these people for pointing it out? Fuck no. Almost worse than the horrible politics advanced by Neil was GenderthInc's response to the complaint. To contextualize it somewhat, it's important to understand that GenderthInc is usually pretty slippery when it comes to criticism. In part, they're able to be this way because GenderthInc is kind of like a pseudonym that anyone who wants to can adopt and use. And so often when a person criticizes something that's been published as a GenderthInc publication, the response will be something akin to, you can't be against GenderthInc. GenderthInc is no one. GenderthInc is everywhere. Your foot is GenderthInc. GenderthInc, dandruff, Milan, puddle, freedom. So it was pretty shocking to see that their response was, the poster has since been removed from circulation on the grounds that even if it was intended only as a critique of the sexist, abusive beauty industry, people who already have to deal with the bigotry and violence of our gender-normative society shouldn't have to deal with the stress of feeling disregarded. Oh, the sweet, juicy motherfucking irony. Because at one point, Neil says, not everyone going to get surgery is a fur coat wearing, vain, insecure, beauty-obsessed rich lady. And GenderthInc had nothing to say about this. But isn't this statement completely fucking disregarding many of the women, both middle class and working class, who were survivors of the plastic surgery industry, and coincidentally also deal with the bigotry and violence of our gender-normative society?